Hello, Crafty Crandall fam! Today I am doing an exciting video wherein I try new things. I received a 72 set of colored pencils for Christmas from my aunt and uncle, and I really wanted to try them out. Additionally, I am going to be working with the Spectrum Noir markers from the Jazza Pro Artist Series collection that I did a recent video on, as I would like to get better with these two mediums in general, and I thought that my sketchbook was a great place to kind of start with them instead of jumping right into a full-scale piece on the fancy marker paper that I have or on just a generic regular piece of Bristol board. In my sketchbook, I feel more relaxed and more comfortable trying new things. And so I am working in the Illo mixed media sketchbook. I really love this sketchbook. It has taken everything I've thrown at it and is honestly so worth the hype. But regardless of that, I chose some photographs of models from Google just by searching male or female portrait, and decided to do kind of a brooding, mysterious male character with a kind of more direct approach for the female character in that she had very captivating eyes. And so I liked the juxtaposition of these two characters or portraits, if you will, in my sketchbook, and decided to try the colored pencil on the male character, leaving the markers for the female character. This is really not my first time using colored pencils. I used colored pencils a lot as a kid, and I never really tried to shade much with them because I was really into anime, and so the shading was relatively simpler than trying to capture a portrait. And so this is my first time really trying to use these, and to be honest, it was daunting. I quickly got very impatient with them. I felt like I wasn't building layers quickly enough. I felt like it was more difficult than I anticipated to kind of build the layers, while also at the same time experiencing a difficulty in going over and creating layers, if that makes sense. If you see that green portion underneath his jawline, I had a difficult time getting that back into a skin tone, despite the fact of, watching several different tutorials on like how to build colored pencils and just clearly not understanding it for myself. So I think I need to maybe do some guided tutorials and draw with me type tutorials, as opposed to just watching skilled artists use their craft, because I'm not learning clearly. As I said, I got impatient with those, and so I moved on to the markers, hoping that I would have a more easy time or better experience, if you will. And so I definitely found that the markers were more in my skill range. I was able to kind of use them similar to paints in that I started with light shade and just continually built up layers from there, which, to be honest, should be the same approach that I can take with colored pencils. I am just clearly missing something, because this approach worked so much better with the markers than it did with the colored pencils. Although it looks a little bit creepy and crazy here, I promise after a while I do go back over with that sandstone or just really light beige color, and it kind of brings everything together, and it really does blend the markers in a coherent way. And I really appreciated having, watched Jazz's tutorials on how to use these markers to kind of realize that that's how you're going to build up a skin tone. And although I don't think I executed it perfectly well, particularly not on the lips, I do think that it worked better than I anticipated. This portrait actually came out better than I thought it would, because I honestly thought that it would be more difficult to build up the layers with the markers than with the colored pencils. I thought it would be far less intuitive, but to be honest, that was not the case. Kind of the exact opposite of what I expected to happen with this exercise ended up happening. I thought that the colored pencils were going to be way more in my ballpark. I figured that I would understand them a lot better, and to be honest, I feel like I had more fun and better understood using markers than colored pencils. So this was definitely a learning experience for me, all in all. I really enjoyed just building up the layers with the markers. I continually went back in with the pink color, with various pink colors. There were actually 2 separate pinks. I went back in with the brown color continually to try to just build those shadows, and then just had a good time kind of employing that same methodology to the neck. Underneath the neck region was honestly a lot of fun to see come together, and really pulled the portrait together as a whole, because it drew the focus back to the eyes, the nose, the lighter regions of the portrait of the face. I then had a ton of fun painting the hair, well, painting with markers. habit that's going to be hard to break is saying the word painting. I started with just a lighter gray color for the highlight region, and then went back over with the black to just establish the darker parts of the hair. And again, I just felt like it was a lot more intuitive to do this, because this is exactly what I would do with my watercolors. I would start really light and then just build on top of it with a darker color. And honestly, I think it looked pretty good. I mean, I'm not gonna say this is the most amazing portrait I've ever done, but it definitely exceeded expectations, and I would really love to hear what you guys think about it in the comments, especially if you use markers regularly. Let me know if this is a decent job, what you think I could improve on, and how to make those improvements, like what your tips are. As far as the colored pencils are concerned, I continued to try to build layers and build layers and build layers, and just try to make this portrait look more like the reference. I really did enjoy doing the hand. I think that the hand was a lot of fun to draw, and I think it was just a really good addition. I'm glad that I chose a reference that contained a hand. I really enjoy drawing hands. I don't know, it's just a weird thing. They're really difficult to draw, and I appreciate, I guess, really the challenge of them. That said, again, I don't think that it came out amazing. One thing that I did appreciate about this piece, though, I will say, and if you've seen any of my videos in the past, then you know, I struggle with drawing hair. And I think that coloring the hair with colored pencils actually turned out better than 99.9% of my paintings. I think hair, for whatever reason, was either more intuitive or just easier with colored pencils as opposed to paint. So that was an interesting kind of realization as I was doing the hair. I was like, wow, I really like how this hair is coming out. And so interestingly enough, that was the one part of this piece that I did really like, was the hair. If I could just have the hair and erase the rest, I probably would. I then just went back through and decided that I really wanted to have a background or a border to these pieces, and I thought it would be fun to kind of do an outside border for the first one and then an inside border for the second one. I used the purple color to try to, bring out the cool tone in the eyes of the female portrait. And then I used a blue colored pencil for the male portrait to try to shift focus from the male portrait over to the female portrait's eyes. So I thought that that would be a way to do it. Unfortunately, I don't think it necessarily worked like that. I think that the blue tone actually just brought out the greens in the skin tone, which the reference did appear to have quite a bit of like green tint to it. So I'm not angry about it. I just don't think that it did exactly what I wanted. Regardless, I had a super fun time trying new things. I highly encourage that you go try new things in your sketchbook and just enjoy the artistic process. If you liked this video, I'd really appreciate it if you'd give a like. Consider subscribing to my channel. I post new art and book related content every single Tuesday and occasionally on Friday. Consider hitting that notification bell, and I will be sure to catch you guys in the next one. Thank you so much. Bye!